وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ. And we call ourselves and you call yourselves for this dua. ثُمَّ نَبْتَهِلْ, for this ibtihal. Anfus could mean, I'll bring myself and you bring yourself. Then you say, I will bring myself. You don't say, I will invite myself. When you truly, in that encounter that took place between the Prophet and the Ahl Kitab, it was basically a life and death situation. The ayah says that فَمَنْ حَاجَّكَ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ. And if somebody continues to argue and dispute with you despite the fact that clear evidence has been presented of what is right and what is wrong, and this evidence has been produced. This is the 9th year of Hijrah, towards the end of the Prophet's life. For 22 years the evidence has been produced, be it in the form of logical arguments, be it in Surah Baqarah, be it in Surah Nisa, be it in Surah Ma'idah, be it in Surah Saf. From the beginning of the Quran till the last, the logical proof has been presented of why God is unique and absolute in His unity, and nobody can share anything with Him, either in His essential divinity or in His absolute divine qualities or in His divine actions which belong to Him absolutely. This Tawheed was clearly declared at all stages and with proof. لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Whatsoever there is other than God is created by God, controlled by God, totally under the authority of God, therefore not equal to God in any sense. And therefore He cannot have any partner of any sense. The logical proof was presented. Beyond that, not only hikmah but maw'idha was presented, in that the believers were promised that once you see the truth and once you accept it, then Allah will reward you, support you, grant you success in the dunya. But beware, if you know the truth and you oppose it and you refuse to accept it and you deny it, then there is punishment. This is maw'idha, this is appeal to the heart. Beware, there are consequences of your reaction when you see the truth. Maw'idha was done. In the same surah, Surah Al-Imran, ayah number 61 is about Mubahila. The preceding verses are about maw'idha. وَجَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. And if the clear, logical proofs, persuasive, convincing, incontrovertible, are presented but they don't accept, the hikmah. And if the maw'idha is presented but they don't accept, jadilhum, then debate with them on the principles that they accept, and use it to prove why they are wrong. Inna mathala Isa inda Allahi kamathali Adama. If you are saying that this particular person should become the son of God because he did not have a father, then there was a prophet before him who did not even have a mother. Use their principles to show how there is a flaw in the logic. But if everything fails, all the types of debates and all the forms of arguments have been presented, yet there is no acceptance, then فَقُلْ, O Prophet, we are instructing you to tell them, تَعَالَوْا, come to the field, to the practical field. Now a miracle has to be done to prove the truth. نَدْعُوا أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ. That let's make a prayer. ثُمَّ نَبْتَهِلْ. Ibtihal is to submissively, earnestly pray to God for something. What is that prayer? That will come in the ayah. But for this prayer, I will not engage in the prayer alone, the Prophet says, or is instructed. In this prayer, we will involve 3 groups of people, not 3 individuals, 3 groups of people. Group number one is abna'ana, all our sons, whether direct sons or grandsons, whether paternal grandsons or maternal grandsons, doesn't matter, grandsons, sons. And the Prophet ﷺ does not bring any sons of the community, of the Muslim Ummah. You know, a political figure may say, as the leader, the sons of this land. Yeah, that's a figurative way of saying the son of the land. But the real son is the one who's born from you directly or from your daughter or son. And the Prophet brings the grandsons, maternal grandsons, through his daughter. وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ. The second group of individuals that we have to invite for this invocation are women. Women can be wives. Ya Nisa an-Nabi, Surah Ahzab. You better behave yourself what expectations you have from the Prophet. So Nisa could be wives. But in this ayah, in the practical application and the interpretation of this ayah, the Prophet does not bring the wives, and they were alive. Most of his wives died after him. They were alive, and they are Nisa. The ayah doesn't say وَبَنَاتَنَا وَبَنَاتَكُمْ. Let's invite our daughters and your daughters. The ayah says women, and women includes wives. Yet the Prophet only brings daughters. Can Nisa refer to daughters? Oh yes, no problem. The Quran has used it to mean daughters. In the case of Fir'aun, as he was doing dhulm on Bani Israel, Allah says that Bani Israel, اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم. Remember the different favors I blessed you with. One of them is إذ أنجيناكم من آل فرعون. We saved you and granted you liberation from Fir'aun and آل فرعون. Who يسومونكم سوء العذاب يذبحون أبناءكم. They persecuted you the worst of the tortures. They used to kill your sons. A newborn, if it was a boy, Fir'aun was afraid of the future of this boy. Kill him. وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ. But they will allow the women to remain alive. Which women? That old grandmother, 80-year-old? No, the newborn who was a girl. She'd grow up to become a woman. Allah refers to her as Nisa'akum. Nisa can refer to the daughters. Or in that ayah of Irth, that if you have daughters, the daughters will get so much percentage and fraction of Irth. Instead of daughters, the word Nisa is used. So Nisa could be wives, but the Prophet didn't bring wives. He brought one single daughter. Any and all daughters could be brought, but only one daughter was brought. Kwanini. But the end of the ayah will give us the reason. وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ. And we call ourselves and you call yourselves for this dua. ثُمَّ نَبْتَهِلْ. For this ibtihal. Anfus could mean, I'll bring myself and you bring yourself. Then you say, I will bring myself. You don't say, I will invite myself. When you send an invitation to everybody else, you, the host, will say, I'm inviting so and so and so guest. In that invitation letter, you don't say, I also am inviting myself. Does it make sense? I'm going, and we invite ourselves, meaning there are some individuals who are almost equal to ourselves. So, in a family, you can say brothers, ourselves. In a community, members of the community, ourselves. We're bonded by faith. We're bonded by biological relationship. Lakini, the Prophet, instead of bringing all members of the community as anfusana, brings only one individual. That individual is not under abna'ana and nisa'ana. He has to be under anfusana. Ali ibn Abi Talib was not under abna'ana. Ibn refers to direct son or grandson. Ali was a cousin. So maybe he was invited, anfusana, he's part of my family, he's like me, family. Samahani, but the Prophet also had other people in the family whom he could have invited. Tell me, who is more senior, uncle or cousin? Uncle is senior. Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib was alive at this incident. Abbas was not invited. But Abbas, Abbas had problems. Abbas did not accept Islam early. He accepted Islam late. Fath Makkah. No. Abbas did a lot of sacrifice. Abbas, to his credit, was the point person of contact for the Prophet in Makkah when the Prophet was in Medina. Oh, he did a lot of sacrifice. Respectable figure. Yet Abbas wasn't invited. In fact, look at the purpose of the dua is a life and death situation. We are going to make ibtihal that Allah should destroy the liars. Destroy the liars. So in order to make sure that this dua works, and I am serious, and I believe in what I'm saying, and I have proofs for it, the hikmah, and I've presented the maw'idha, and I've done the jidal billati hiya ahsan. I'm absolutely convinced about my truth. And for that sake, I'm ready to sacrifice my sons and grandsons. I'm ready to sacrifice, that means my near and dear ones. I'm ready to sacrifice my only daughter, who is nearer to me and dearer to me than even my grandsons. No, not only my near and nearer. I'm ready to sacrifice my nearest. My nafs. Nafs here is not because he's a cousin. Nafs here is because he is the nearest now to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya Ali, man qatalaka faqad qatalani, man ahabbaka faqad ahabbani, man abghadaka faqad abghadani. So these individuals came for the dua. But the interesting thing is the dua is not, oh Allah, whoever is the liar, you send the punishment on them. The ayah says, ثُمَّ نَبْتَهِلْ فَنَجْعَلْ لَعْنَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْكَاذِبِينَ. We shall pray earnestly, sincerely, submissively, that Allah's punishment and curse and the denial of His special grace and mercy and blessings, all of that should be stopped from those people who are liars. Not only who lie sometimes, they are established, confirmed, habitual, regular liars. They know the truth, they are refusing to accept it, and they are blocking others from accepting that truth. May Allah send la'na on them. No, sorry, I'm not interpreting the ayah correctly. The ayah doesn't say ثُمَّ نَبْتَهِلْ فَيَجْعَلِ اللَّهُ لَعْنَتَهُ عَلَى الْكَاذِبِينَ. We shall pray and Allah will send His la'na on the liar. No, we shall pray and we shall send the la'na onto the kadhib, onto the liar. The la'na will come, yes, from God, but not directly. The la'na will come because of our dua, and the power of our dua will make this la'na effective on the liar. So these individuals were those individuals who had to be sincere, had to be strong in their faith, had to be submissive to God, had to be those who, when they pray, their prayers are accepted. Who are those whose prayers are accepted? In the Quran, we have a list of people whose du'as are accepted. The famous ayah which we recite daily, between the Maghribain prayers. وَظَنُّونِي إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا فَظَنَّ أَن لَّن نَّقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنْتَ سُبْحَانَكَ إِنِّي كُنْتُ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ. And we answered him. So Yunus alayhi salam, whoever develops the state of mind that Yunus alayhi salam had, his dua can be mustajab. Beyond that, وَلَقَدْ نَادَانَا نُوحٌ فَلَنِعْمَ الْمُجِيبُونَ. And Nuh alayhi salam prayed to us, and we answered his prayer. وَنَجَّيْنَاهُ وَأَهْلَهُ مِنَ الْكَرْبِ الْعَظِيمِ. Yusuf alayhi salam, when he was confronted with those women, not only one woman who was trying to seduce him, not one seductress, the whole party of women started to seduce him. And that moment he says, Rabbi as-sijnu ahabbu ilayya mimma yad'unani ilayh. Oh Allah, from this society of richness and opulence and luxury and debauchery and sinfulness, no, I'd prefer the misery of the prison. فَاسْتَجَابَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ. Allah answered his prayer. What is it in Yusuf that qualified him to get his prayer answered? Or in Surah Anbiya, other prophets are mentioned. وَأَيُّوبَ إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ وَزَكَرِيَّا إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ. And there are other examples. So a person who is of a prophetic stature, he develops the state of mind which the prophets had. He qualifies therefore for his dua to be accepted. What is this quality of mind? In Surah Anbiya, Allah says, إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا يُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ 1 وَيَدْعُونَنَا رَهَبًا 2 وَالرَّغَبًا 3 وَكَانُوا لَنَا خَاشِعِينَ 4. We answered their prayers because they had these 4 habits. Not occasionally they made this dua in this state. Regularly, habitually, they would make this because they were good doers. No, they were quick good doers. The moment they know something is good, they would jump to it. Yusari'un, they would compete with each other to do good. Well, one of the goodnesses is, of course, to avoid evil. Compete with each other to avoid evil. Compete with each other to do good. Pray to us hopefully. Hope that Allah alone is the one who will provide directly or through some other means. They will pray to us fearfully. God alone is the one worthy of being afraid of, and his punishment or the misery or the affliction that he can inflict. And finally, وَكَانُوا لَنَا خَاشِعِينَ. And they were humble and they were submissive to us. They were never ever arrogant. These 4 conditions are there. These people are mustajabu da'wah according to this ayah. How come in the whole of the ummah nobody qualified to get these qualities, to be able to make that dua, to be so effective that it could be a life and death situation? If at all, Mubahala clearly proves the purity, the humility, the cognizance of God that these individuals had, the closeness they had to God. In the competition to do good, they were at the top. They were the winners. And that is why they were invited. And that is why when the Ahl Kitab saw them, they withdrew, they retreated. And they said, if these people are going to make dua, then they can move mountains.
يا نبض الحق الكامن في عمق الوجدان